Hello and welcome. And welcome. How are you? We're doing episode 2 today of the Ultra-Rec drop deck. Getting this in game, showing you the process. I know that some folks were looking forward to not hearing music, but I cannot not have music in the background, and my computer is super loud, so all you would hear is constant whining going on in the background. So that is why the music is there. I've tested it many ways until I get a quieter case and a new processor. Not gonna happen. Gonna have to have the music in the background, so apologies for that, but that's how it is right now. So I hope you can appreciate that. At any rate, this is where we left off. Basically, the entire trailer is textured. We have to do a couple of things to make it work, essentially, in-game. Still left to do. So what we're going to do is we are going to expand that. So everything looks good. We get all the textures on. This particular trailer does not have the glad hands. So at some point I'm going to have to put those on there. That's not going to be a video for today. This is just adding nodes and light mask and stuff like that, so we can get it ready for the game. And these look super dark for some reason. They look dark on the side? Yes, they do. Okay. So let's check vertex paint. It's because they're vertex colored for some reason. Still look pretty dark. It's pretty interesting. I have to copy some other ones, because those seem awfully dark. Don't know why. Because those aren't baked, so. At any rate, we won't worry about that right now. Alright, so a couple of things. We're going to separate the lights, as long as they're not attached to the outside. They are not beautiful. Oh, I forgot to turn on my keys, sorry. And that. Alright, so that's good. So I'm separating these. The reason why I'm doing this is because when you do just the lights and not the rubber surround, then you don't have to worry about it like casting light or anything like that. So what that means is you don't have to then in the light mask separate the rubber in the light mask so it doesn't light up when you hit the lights or the brakes or whatever. Because sometimes when you don't do that, this outer ring right here, which is the the rubber that is surrounding the light in real life, because that's where you drill the hole and then you put the rubber surround thing there, and then you put the light inside. Well, if you don't do the light mask right, then the rubber starts to light up, and obviously the rubber doesn't light up in real life, so you don't want to do that. So now we press P, make that a new part. So now we have the rubber. So if I press hide, so now if I press hide on that, it's just going to be the interior light section. That's all we care about. I could really go back and re-separate everything again because I didn't get the outer ring, but kind of inconsequential at this point. So now how to do a light mask. I've done this, I've had an informational thing on this before. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to make a new material, go into the shader, select lamp, add envy. Now you want to choose the base, which happens to be the texture we already used, which is the Ultrarec. So that's going to put your lights back, but you still need the mask. So we need to create another UV. And once we do that, go here, then mask. And here's the trick. So what I usually do, just because I'm not great at making custom light masks, is I use the light mask that is built into the shared folder. And I'll show you how to map to that. Alright, so there's all of our lights here. All here. But we need to figure out where the lamp mask is, right? So I'll leave the link in the description, but to do light masks, I personally bring up one specific picture every time that I do this, which is over here somewhere. Nope. Show me the light mask. Is it under Smarty? I forget what it's saved under. Sorry, I should have gotten this up beforehand. Okay, it's not in there. Let's try this. Well, that's just silly. That's so weird. Alright, well I can't find it on my computer, so I guess we'll go over here. And go to here. This is the lightmask cheat. So I'll leave a link to that. It's right here. It's on Smarty's website. It is basically the godsend of how to do a light mask. It's a good thing to know. So this is what we do. Is if I go here, now the different colors here are green and red. There aren't any blue, well, green, red, and alpha, I should say. So there aren't any blue masks in this. Blue is for reverse. Most American trailers do not have reverse, so they don't have, these do not have blue coloring in them. I should say they don't have reverse lights, not reverse, because obviously they can go backwards. However, what we're working with is green and red. So green is brake, red is turn. So if you want your turn signals in the back to light up, then you have to put them on the red. If you want your brake lights to light up, you have to put them on the green. So in this case, we want the leftmost light over here to be on the turn. So we're going to grab that, pull it over here. We also have to normalize this, so it creates a 0 to 10, 0 to 1 rating. So this is 0, 0, or maybe this is 0, 0. Where's the marker? Yeah, so this is 0, 0. This is 1, 1. This is 0, 1, and 1, 0. So basically it normalizes this position. The light mask uses UV tiles, so 0 through 4. So you have 5 tiles, and they all do a different thing depending on the color and or alpha. So when they talk about tile 0, this is tile 0. When I change this to 1, right there, when I type 1 in there, it moves this over here, and that's tile 2. You can also see it if you repeat this, which does get a little crazy, but so if you repeat this, you can see this is tile 2, or in this case 0, 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So we only go from 0 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's all we have. But this will show you that it's lined up with the correct thing that you left it here. But all you have to do is change this number. Once you find out the location you want it here, you just change this to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Alright, so this is going to be a red blinker, according to the light mask. The rear left blinker is going to be tile 2 under the red. So tile 2. Alright, so now we're going to have a red turn signal here. Now we have these two are brake lights. Now brakes are green 2 in this case. So those are done. And you can check these using SCS tools, which are here. If you want to do positional, or say left blinker, there it lights up. You want to do brake, those light up. So that's how you can check them, make sure they're lined up properly. These are for alpha. So we're going to grab those. Shrink those a little bit. And those should be in either 2 or 3 alpha. Okay, so those are done. Now we're going to move on the right side. These two. Brake, so that's green. And that's 3. And this is the right blinker. And that's 3. And now we can test all those. So we can do positional, and all those show up. Let's see if the other ones show up. Yes, they do. And then we can turn those off and hit the brakes. That works. And then the right blinker. That works. Alright, so the back's done. So that's good. So now we have this and this. We also want that to be alpha. I'll shrink that a little bit. And we can either put that on 2 or 3. Technically, if you want to put, if it's on the left side, it should be on 2. If it's on the right side, it should be on 3, but it doesn't matter. It's not a blinker, so it doesn't matter what section you put it in. Now, the other part are the orange. Now, one of these is supposed to be a blinker, so we're going to pick the one that's like halfway down. We'll do this one right here. So with this, you can treat it 2 ways. You can either create the light mask for the blinker, or you can just choose to make it a standard light mask light and then put a flare there that shows that it's a blinker. Usually I just make it light up and then have the flare blinker. It just depends on if it's another style light, like the long, thin, angular ones that are always a blinker. I just make it a blinker and don't make it light up orange. So, I mean, it's really entirely up to you, of course, when you're doing this. So, trial and error. What looks the best, etc. So let's do this, and then I'm going to do a see-through, because these should all be in the same spot. Okay, so all of those orange ones are selected now, and they're all right there. So this depends on alpha only, and according to this, it should be in position 4. So alpha 4. So we're going to grab this. Shrink. Put it on 4. Now we can go here, and then we can look and see if these light up when we hit positional. Yep, they're there. So that's done. So all the lights on the trailer are now done according to lightmask. We don't have to do anything else if we don't want to, other than put blinker nodes here for flares. But you could just leave this here like it is, and it will function in-game with blinkers and brake lights. If you want the flares, you add those nodes to the specific items, which we will do in a minute, because we get to add a lot of things at this rate. There are a couple of things that you do need to do. So I've been trying to build these completely like from scratch, you know, not the models themselves, but put them into the game, making nodes and stuff like that, not copying anything from the game itself. It's good practice. It makes you rely on your mind instead of just copying things over and ripping through it, and it's not exactly what you want in the end, you know. I mean, you can do it any way you want. You could copy the flatbed trailer, bring it into this game, all the nodes are already there, just copy paste, export, done. But this is the long way, and it teaches you a little bit more, so I'm into that. Now, what I do for I will show you what I do for nodes, and what you need to do for nodes. So here, this is the hook here. So what I do is I copy that, Control S, cursor to selected, so it moves that cursor to there, because when you add something into the scene, it puts it where that is. So if you hit empty, there it is. So empty is your node. So you drop it to the parent. We're going to call this hook. You go under here. You want to put it on viz, assign, locator, model, done. We just need to make sure that it's right. It should be facing forward. This arrow is facing forward. That's the front of the trailer. That's fine. I'm actually going to drop this a little bit because I think it might be too low. Or too high, rather, excuse me. So usually the hook point is like just below the hook, or like another click. It depends on the truck. It depends on if it's a modded truck, SES truck, whatever. I just try to put it in the same spot every time and then check it in game. Make sure it's not sitting too low or high. I check it with SCS trucks, because realistically that's what everything should be made to, you know, replicate. So that's where we're at with that. So that's all you need up front. I'll show you the advanced collision node, advanced coupling collision node rather, in a little bit. Okay, so what else do we need? We need a blinker. We've decided on this one over here, I think. So here's what I do for this. Alright, so I have that there. Do Control S, cursor to selected. Oh, and I forgot to tell you. I gotta change that other one too. Create empty. And then we go, I do OLBL for orange blinker, left 0. You can name these whatever you want, it doesn't have to be anything specific. Locator, model. Now you got to look through the hookup values, right? So you're looking for L blinker, and you want the orange one. So this is flare vehicle L blinker L. If you wanted the red one, you want red.L blinker L. So there's the orange one. You have to change the node to Quaterionon, or however you say that foolish name. And this should be 1, I think. Yep. So see how the arrow's pointing out? Because you want the blinker to point out the side of the truck, right? Or trailer, in this case. So all I do for the other side is I notate where the location is of it, and I go over here and I duplicate it, and then I'll say OLBL right 0, and then I take the minus sign off and it flips it to the other side, and then I put this in a -1 so it's facing the other way, and then I cursor to selected and home over there, and this trailer is not quite centered on the screen, the model, so we'll have to adjust this a little bit, and we'll take 5.5. There we go. So there's your 2 blinkers. Only caveat is you have to change this to R blinker. There we go. So blinkers are done on the sides. We need wheels. Wheels are helpful. What I do for these is I do this on the axle, cursor to selected, create the node, drop it in. This is going to be, let's see, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, so this is going to be 3. So it's going to be wheel R3. This also has to be changed to that, and then made -1, and viz and locator and model. Now that is too close to the that's too close to the axle. It's got to come out, and it's usually a good amount. So we're gonna go with like 82. And again, this is all tweaking. Like I said, you can always, copy a trailer from the game and put these in. The problem is they're going to be off center because this trailer was built off center. And not only that, but the it's built off center and other words that I can't think of right now. At any rate. Oh, You're gonna have to adjust if you're putting like custom wheels on there. If you're using Smarties wheels, you're using a super single, you're using something like that. These nodes may be different depending on what wheel you're using, so you may need to adjust these anyway. So just keep that in mind. Here's what I do with this is I click there, duplicate, then I come over here, select the end unit of that, and then I go here, and then I take, oops, cursor to selected. Then we get the other wheel, which is going to be R1. And I basically move that to here without touching the X location. So I'll do like -6. Alright, so it's got to be like -9. That's too far. Okay, good. That looks pretty centered. Nice. Okay. So I got those done. Now I take and select them again, duplicate them. So now we're looking at wheel R0 and wheel R2. Add a negative to that, and a negative to that, and then also change this to a +1, and this to a +1. And again, like we discovered earlier, it's not quite on center, so these might have to come over more to the left or not. It really depends. You can, if you want to, select everything but the trailer and move it over, because if you look at this, it's centered. It says it is, but that's only because it thinks it is already, because that's how it was imported, if that makes any sense. So you could try to center it yourself if you wanted to, but it's a little harder than you think. We're going to leave these nodes as they are right now. We might actually move them over. I can tell they're a little bit different. So 0 and 2. Okay, so we got our wheels done. What I would do now is take the 2 rear ones, duplicate them, drop them in the back here. And then drop them -0.2, 0.3, whoops. And these are going to be different nodes. These are going to be skid 0 and skid 1. This one is going to be wheel particles, and this one's going to be wheel particles, and they're going to face backwards, so we need to do this and that. Oh no, it's 0, and then 0 and 0. I should probably leave them up though. Okay. So that's done. So that's when you're like going off-roading, you can see the particles of dirt and such come up. So there's two more very important nodes and another important piece that we have to do. So I'm going to put this cursor to center. I'm going to add a new node. This is for the shadow. This is called Shadow Ori X. Or is it Shadow X Ori? I think it's Shadow X Ori now that I'm thinking of it. I might have to open another truck. Oh, I mean truck. Trailer. Derp. Let's see. Shadow X Ori and Shadow X Corner. Perfect. That's loud. So this is going to be Shadow X Ori. All right. So this one needs to face down, which I believe is -1. And then it's got to be positionally 1.21 above, if I recall correctly. So this basically projects the fake shadow that you need under the trailer onto the ground, so doesn't look like it's floating. The other most important thing that we have to do is create a plane. And we have to rotate it 180 degrees so it's facing downward. And then this is going to be our fake shadow. Okay. Translate. It's too far. Okay. And then we're going to extrude region. What we're doing is we're roughly covering the bottom with this fake shadow. And what that does is it's going to show up on the ground. The closer it is to the ground, the more shadowing that's going to exist. And I'll show you what we do on the other end. So now we've got up to the neck here. So we're going to extrude at region again, and then we're going to go forward maybe 3, maybe 3.5. Alright, so there's the front half of the fake shadow. Alright, so now we got to do the back. So we're gonna, first of all, move this. -3. Look at that, it's pretty good. We're gonna extrude region. So we're gonna go above the tires and the wheels, because the tires and wheels should have their own fake shadow. Which will project onto the ground. If they do not, they are not done properly, which will make them look weird on the ground. So you may have to kind of adjust which wheels you're using in order to accommodate what you're doing with your trailer. If you're using SCS wheels, all will be well. If you're using Smarties wheels, all will be well. If you're using any of my wheels off of my trailers, you'll be fine. But a lot of wheels on a lot of trailers don't include the fake shadow. They don't have the shadowing done correctly, and it will look very silly in that case. Just an FYI. So now we want to do we're going to do -1. So that's a little too far. So this is the toolbox here, right? So what we want to do is we want to come down. See, we're over here right now. We want to come down just before that, like that, and then do this, and then that. Let's do 0.5. So it's 0.6 or so. Whoops. Alright, and then we gotta do extrude region again, and then -1. -1.5. Okay, and then extrude region again, and then go up and over the tire-ish. Oh, I'm really ruining the front of this thing. I don't know why it's selecting all kinds of stuff. Might have to redo this a little bit here. Okay, let's try this again. I don't have anything else selected, right? That's all fine. Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. That was... sometimes we miss things. I still had a bunch of stuff selected. Oops, -0.8. A little further. Okay. Extrude. Okay, so we get that sorted. We just got to scale it. I'm going to scale the X value because it should come out beside the trailer a bit. That's pretty good. So now we want to assign the mat. It's going to be visible. Make a new one. That's going to be fake shadow. It's going to be fake shadow. There we go. So that's what that should look like. Now, the shadow X Ori should also be projected over here in a different function. So this is how I do this. There's a shadow X corner, CRN. What that does is it tells the shadow where to stop projecting, essentially. So we need to add a new empty. Right, so we're going to call it, I'm going to drag it over here. Shadow X CRN. It should be facing forward, which it is. It's got to go underneath the ground, essentially. And it's usually negative 0.31. So that's that. So if you look at this, and you put the marker on the corner right there, and you do home, and then you do like that, that marker should be right over the top of that, which it is. It's perfect. All right. Let's see. So we have the hook, we have the wheels, we have the light mask. All that we have left to do is loads and def work. So let's do, we're at about 50 minutes right now. I'm going to load in the trailer again. Well, first I'm going to export it and save it, because that's something that you should do more often than I do it, for sure. So let's find our export path, which is going to be vehicle, trailer, Altrec, and then export. Done. Okay. And then we'll save the Ultrek vid. Save that just in case. All right, so let's overview here. We did light mask. We did light mask on all of the lights. We put blinker flares on those lights. What else did we do? We did the shadow. We did the wheel nodes. We did these wheel particle nodes in the back. And we did the hook. So this right now is essentially ready for export, and as long as you created cargos for the empty trailer, then you could have an empty trailer. We want to start off with a load, just because it makes doing this a little bit easier via cargo and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and import the original OBJ, and then I can at least do one load for you so you can see how that operation goes. I'll show you this. So we're working in this folder. What I usually do is I put a new folder in here called cargo, and then I do textures in there as well. So we get a ton of stuff here, if you recall. Let's do this. Remove the trailer that we're doing. We'll get rid of this. Okay. Just need the floor of the trailer. Of course, it's not going to cooperate now. Okay. So, let's do... these angular pieces. Those look pretty cool. So easiest way to do this is, let's bring the trailer back. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to create a new node. So cursor to center, and then we're going to create an empty, and this is going to be a root node, okay? Because we're making a cargo. A cargo is its own separate root node. It's an accessory. So you can add that accessory to the trailer, kind of like you add a headache rack to a truck, or a sun visor to a truck, or whatever. That's how you treat loads now on trailers, is they're not all built into the trailer itself. They're built into their own folder with cargos, which is what I was just doing in the file structure. So essentially what we're doing is we've created that. We're going to make it a root node. It's going to be all defaults. We're going to call this what do you think? Roofing? Or, yeah, let's call it roofing. So now all we have to do is assign this to roofing. Okay, so we're done with all these. What I'm going to do is select this. So pressing the arrow and making it disappear means that you can't select anything. You can't select those things. So now when I press A, it only selects these things because you can't select these things. And now we can turn them back on. Okay. So now we got our roofing node. These are all assigned to the roofing node. Now we just have to texturize. So these are just the straps, so that should be standard. It says roof. Let's see. Where does this show up? Over there somewhere. What's on that? Interesting. Okay. So we might need to pull in some more images from the original trailer pack. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. So the original trailer is here. So what we'll do is we'll take truss, let's do this instead. Save it as a TGA. This is pretty boring, so sorry for that. But it's what you gotta do sometimes. So we got roofing, truss floor. And truss roof. Okay, So now we're going to take these TGAs. You'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Here. Alright, so here it says, this one said roof, because it saves the, once you convert something to OBJ, it saves the original name of whatever the material was, so you can kind of go by that to see what this is supposed to be. So if I make a new, I'll do like straps or something. I think this was called roof. Truck. Oops, not truck, trailer. Yeah, so there's your strap. Kind of funny looking, but hey, gets the job done. So this is supposed to be what? Roof diff. Roof diff. Roof diff. So what I would do, because these are only, these are very small. Oh, there's other parts here. Gotcha. I might even remove those and then combine every single one of these. Because that's only 11,000. Because it's all one material. What that's going to allow you to do is when you bake it, it'll show the shadowing. So it should be good. So let's do that. Text tools. Sure. We got to create another UV. Let's combine them all. Get rid of that. So now we're on UV map 01. We're going to unwrap it. 70.02. Two single. So we're going to call this roof A01. I mean, realistically, this could be a bad idea, but won't know until we get there. Okay. Save as. So we're gonna go trailer, ultra cargo textures. What did we say? Roofing AO. Alright, so let's go to roofing AO. I'm gonna shadow that bad Larry. Base is that. And this is the original with the roofing AO. That's interesting. It's not really the right thing, is it? You'd think it would be like truss roof. That looks better. Gonna have to redo those straps on the side, I think. But either way, that looks pretty good, I gotta say. You see what I mean about the shadowing? You get that shadowing all in there, and then where it meets the other ones, because it's darker over here. You know, it's light here, but it's dark behind this one. So it really looks like those pieces of wood are stacked there nicely like that. And you're already seeing the shadow from the other one. It just makes it so much better with the AO. It's insane. Anyway. So this is our roofing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export this. We got to change our directory. Vehicle, trailer, cargo. Beautiful. There's one thing that I did forget. You didn't remind me. How dare you? We didn't do collisions for the trailer, which are very important. So this is what we're going to do. Make a cube. Put it in the trailer. Name it. In this case, we'll name it CL1 for collision 1. Go to the SCS tools, convert to locator. Delete CL1. Now, come over here. Change it to a box. Center. Dimensions are 0.3. Location. Probably 0.5 actually. Probably 2.5. Okay. So we probably want to move this down further, so we'll do -3. And then this is going to be like 9. Longer than that. 10. 11. Let's move this a little bit forward. And you it a little bit longer. There we go. Alright, so there's the first collision. Put the next one up here. Make sure this is in the center. Cube. CL2. Box centered. That was like 2.72. Okay. And then this is 0.3. Look at that. And then we're going to expand this. Let's say 4. Okay, those are 2 collisions. You actually need one for this too. So I should do that. So let's do cursor to selected. And then we'll create it can just be a square, it's fine. It's fine. We'll make that a locator. And then delete the original. Call it CL3. Okay, we'll call that good. We'll re-export both of these. So we'll do this first because it's still in the cargo section. We can delete that. And then we can go in here and we can export this. Alright, we're going to do one more thing. Now that I'm thinking of it. Another important thing is the UI shadow. So what I normally do for this is I do a little cheating. I go to another trailer, and I go to something like the flatbed in this case. So this is the UI shadow right here. It also uses shadow OBJ and shadow DDS, so I copy those, and then I go back to my trailer. Which is right there, and there, and there, and there, and there. And I drop those here, and then I move, I copy these, or cut them rather, put them in textures. I go into the shadow OBJ, so vehicle trailer Ultra-Rec. If only I could. Alutrec is what the problem is, because I'm not spelling it or saying it right either. Like so. These are all text files, so all you have to do is just rename them and where they point, including this. It's looking for it in trailer flatbed. Well, guess what? It's not in trailer flatbed. It's in Alutrec. Drop / textures. So now I have it on the center. I'm going to import this like so, and it shows up. No texture errors because I renamed it. It's pretty handy. We need to move this piece so it lines up a little bit better with the trailer. So I'm going to move it back about -2. Maybe to -1.5, and then I'm going to do this. And pull this forward 1. 1.5. And the same for the back. We'll do -1. There. Now we have the UI shadow taken care of. So now I can export this as well. Done. Okay. For now, this is all. We're going to have episode 3 coming up in the next couple days, so I hope you look forward to that, to the conclusion of how to get a trailer from OBJ status or Holland or PTTM or whatever into ATS using Blender tools. So far, I hope you've enjoyed the videos, and I look forward to bringing you the 3rd one and all of your reactions. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.